Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Friday, April 28th, 2023. My name is Larry Jacobs, and this is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio, and thank you so much for listening in today, or maybe you're listening on the archives. You know, we're the American Consortium for Equity in Education, and everything we do is at ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org. Everything we do over there is free for educators. Anybody else who wants to go over there, we have our magazine called Equity and Access Pre-K-12, which is an online journal. Just click on the cover. You'll see it there. It's a good issue. You'll really enjoy it. We hope you do anyway. Okay, let us know if you do. And if you don't, we're always interested in both sides. But usually we get pretty good kudos on it. And we have all kinds of things over there, including the podcast. Every podcast we've ever done is linked over there. So please check it out, again, free over at ace-ed.org. And today we are continuing a discussion we started a couple of days ago with my good friends from eTherapy at electronic-therapy.com. And we were talking about a new program they've developed for professional development. It's called eQUIP, E-Q-U-I-P, eQUIP. And it's linked here on the website. Okay, and I've got John Ebert and Matt Knapp from Electronic Therapy, again, electronic-therapy.com. We're going to continue our discussion, all right, about this professional development program. This is so interesting because we're always talking about how the kids need so much help these days, and they do. So do the teachers, and that's what we're talking about here. And this is what they're going to explain. It's a professional development program equipped for educators, staff, and parents with tools and resources and supports that they need to recognize, respond, and recover from any mental health challenges that group may be suffering from. It's hard out there these days. So without me blabbing any further, welcome back, John Ebert.
Hey, Larry, good to see you again. Twice in a week. I'm feeling privileged.
You are blessed, my friend. Thank you so much for being here, and I do appreciate that you're able to do that. Okay, and Matt, good morning to you, my friend. Matt Ebert.
Hey, good morning, Larry.
Not Matt Ebert. Matt Knapp. I'm sorry.
Hey, don't worry. I've been called worse, Larry, and I
can't believe that. I know, John. I can't believe that, but I apologize for it. Matt Knapp. Matt Knapp and John Ebert are here. Okay, and guys, you know, let's kind of start over just to give everybody a little catch up here. And I'll go to John on this. John, with your Minnesota accent, that was a joke. Okay, your Maine accent, John. Okay. You ready?
That's right, Southern Maine.
Southern Maine. Long story, folks. Okay, tell everybody what eQUIP is. That's E-Q-U-I-P, and you can go to electronic-therapy.com/equip. Okay, and you'll see all the stuff it does, but it's pretty cool. Okay, and it's needed right now. Go ahead, John. Just give everybody the rundown.
eQUIP is a self-paced educational resource that basically has been designed to equip teachers and staff to recognize, respond, and recover from the impacts of mental health. You had mentioned that there are things that students need, there are things that teachers need, there are things that parents need, because mental health impacts all of us. And so eQUIP is the professional development platform that we have built that is going to allow us to put tools, resources, small micro-learning videos in one convenient place, and it's going to allow teachers to be more effective in their classroom. We have interactive tools and downloadable resources and just engaging content in general that helps anyone in the school community to learn how to build not just healthy schools, but healthy staff and healthy students.
Yeah, we got to have that. And this is an age of a serious challenge with teacher retention. And a lot of teachers got burned out. We all know this, okay, during the pandemic, and we're still trying to recover from that. And I remind school districts, and they know this better than I do, that the pipeline of educators is less than it's ever been. All right? We have to make sure that the great teachers we have stay. But if they are frustrated in their job, okay, if they are not happy mentally, and that's key, okay, that is as big a problem as any physical disability, okay, might be. All right, and so it is a key. We can't provide a private psychiatrist or psychologist or counselor for every teacher, but we can give them the opportunity to help themselves with eQUIP. Is that a good way to put it, Matt Knapp?
Yeah, Larry, I agree completely. I'd even add, I was on a flight this week, a couple actually, and you always hear that same announcement, like if there's an emergency and the mask drop down from the ceiling, that you put the mask on yourself first.
Good point.
Before you help others. And I just think that's key here.
Yeah, this is so important, and it's necessary these days. And we talked about this the other day as we started this show. Technology is there now. We have to use it. And what's coming down the pike, as everybody knows, is AI. More and more will be used in education. All right. Point being that education, that technology is great tools. And if we can bring help and service to as many educators as possible, okay, we're going to be a lot better off than we were. All right. And that's why this is so darn important. Matt, what's your actual position over there? I'm asking that for a reason. I know John is the mental health program manager. What's your exact title? And I think I have a special question for you. Go ahead, Matt.
A better way to describe it would be John's the expert. And while I'm the director of the mental health division, I'm more of like the coordinator. I make sure John's on the call today, and John has what he needs and his team. So I help coordinate and support the experts that actually do the hard work.
Okay, so let me ask you, is John the inside guy or the outside guy? John.
Am I the inside guy or the outside guy? Is that the question?
John, are you the inside guy or the outside? I'm leading to something here, but I'm just trying to figure out who I should ask. Maybe I just ask you, John, and you can help me. One of you guys, and maybe both of you, but I think one of you is actually calling on school districts, all right, about this, about providing eQUIP for their faculty and staff and parents. And whichever one of you that is, and maybe it's both of you, but I'm talking to John right now, swing it to Matt if that's more appropriate. As you go into a school district, okay, and eTherapy has a whole plethora of products there that are really great, okay, obviously off-site therapy and all that sort of thing. But this is something new, okay? What is the school district's reaction to a product like eQUIP? And I think that's very important as we're talking to so many school districts now. And John, I'll throw that to you, but you swing it to Matt if you want to.
Okay, sure. No, I can. That's not a specific daily function of my position, but I can absolutely answer the question because I've had enough conversations with school districts about eQUIP, and I think number one, they're very welcoming of anything that we can do that's going to empower and equip teachers and make the situation better. When it comes to PD, administrators are always very open to it. But what I found is that teachers can feel like it's just another thing to go on their to-do list. And you don't want for teachers to approach PD as a necessary evil. And so we kind of took that into consideration when we developed eQUIP. But I think the other thing that we're getting when we talk to school districts about eQUIP is, is it evidence-based, which the answer is yes. And that could be the topic for a completely different podcast.
Actually, feel free to expound on that if you want to. We have time.
About it being evidence-based?
Yeah, if you want to. Go ahead.
Sure. I mean, when we look at the 5 areas of eQUIP, and I think that any teacher out there that's listening can tell you that that the things that they deal with in the classroom are probably going to fall into 5 areas. The first one is engaging environments because, of course, eQUIP is an acronym, right? We know that school environments are important. We know that kids have an extreme difficulty in learning if they're in environments where they don't feel accepted or safe or supported. It's kind of the whole Maslow before Bloom conversation that we have to meet basic needs before we can start focusing on academics. Next is quality.
I agree with that, as everybody does. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, when you move down to Q, quality connections, there's a famous TED Talk by Rita Pearson, and she basically bluntly says, kids don't learn from folks they don't like, right? And that's true. I think even Teddy Roosevelt said that People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And any teacher, any teacher that you speak with is going to readily acknowledge the importance of connecting with your students in order to have the greatest success for, academic outcomes, right? Understanding connections, demonstrating care, that type of a thing. There is so much evidence around understanding and understanding mental health, right? Recognizing the fact that mental health impacts all of us. It's a part of each of us. And we have to understand not just some of the elements of mental health, but how it impacts us. What are the signs and symptoms? And that was really what initiated the development of this program, is that teachers are experiencing mental health, not just from kids, but, their own mental health as well post-pandemic.
Oh, of course.
And they have to understand what that is.
Yeah.
The next is I for interpersonal interactions, and the things that we say and do are important. They make a difference. They have impact. It's either going to be positive or negative. And so interpersonal interactions focus on relationships, the perceptions that we have, the biases that we all have, right? Actions and interactions, and just ways that we can include empathy and empathic listening to kind of broaden positive impacts that we have on kids. And then, last but certainly not least, P stands for personal care. And there's so much there's so much evidence base around wellness and just having an awareness and recognition of the things that are impacting us and just our personal health in general. And, Matt gave the airplane analogy about we have to put our mask on first. We can't help anybody if we're gasping for air. And, you highlighted burnout, Larry, and it's absolutely true. I think some of the latest data that I saw on this is that nearly 50% of teachers are leaving the field within 5 years. So
they're thinking about it.
We're going to be dealing with an existential crisis here soon, because we have teachers that are retiring, right, that have been there for a long time, that are staying to kind of fulfill the mission and maybe, to get to that place of their pension. But then we don't have teachers, experienced teachers, that are coming in to fill the gap because they're leaving the field within 5 years. And so personal care is just about, making sure that you're filling up your cup so you can turn around and pour into your students. And so that is kind of the bones of eQUIP. Administrators love the fact that it's accessible, it's self-paced, it deals with the issues that matter in the classroom, and that it allows teachers to work in small bite-sized micro learning elements of PD into their busy schedules. It's
really good. By the way, I did not know that eQUIP was an acronym. Thank you for telling me that. I did not know that.
We alliterate over here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That was great. Okay, and thank you for doing that. I didn't know that. That's terrific. And there's an interesting point that you made. When you said teachers hang out for their pension and all that, and they like their job, but there's a good pension for a lot of them coming at the end of the trail, so to speak. But this is a different age we live in. Okay, and I just kind of noticed this. I guess some of my sons and their friends and all that, they don't stay at jobs. Okay, like I used to. Okay, the generation is different. Believe me, it's different. Okay, they're not anticipating I'm going to stay here until I retire. All right, things have changed out there. Gen Z or whatever this one is, and the millennials and all that sort of stuff are different than the baby boomers, and even the baby boomers obviously were very different. Okay, and we have to, as school districts, have to be very aware of that shift in the mentality of the people we're hiring. Okay, when we hire them, and it costs a fortune to hire them and a fortune to train them, it's an investment, we hope, in a long-term solution. But we got to be aware that might be, we got to do everything we can to have them stay as long as they possibly can and keep them happy. It's a different world out there. All right, and the carrot on the end of the stick of the pension, okay, was always something that kept people in education, but the people are changing. Okay,
I agree 100%, Larry. And I, as a manager and a supervisor and a director, both at schools and in other businesses, I've always had the mindset of it's better to train people and they leave than not train them and they stay. And so we understand that there are things that teachers need. There are things that teachers want. And when it comes to eQUIP and the platform that we've developed, yes, it's a product, but I think the main drive behind this is we are looking to serve school districts. We're looking to serve teachers through giving them knowledge for some that this wasn't a part of their education. Maybe it's just a good reminder for others. I think our platform, it's data-driven, so it helps administrators recognize areas where they might need to add PD or areas where staff might be struggling. There are so many things that eQUIP does in an effort to serve teachers and students and the school community, and that's our drive.
And I think
Larry,
it's great, but I do want to – no, go ahead, Matt. Please, go ahead. Go.
Well, I told you John was the expert. I would add to
I think you're an expert, too. We'll find out now. We have, ladies and gentlemen, the true expert, okay? Matt Knapp will now speak. Go ahead, Matt.
Not at all, but I wanted to highlight something you said, that it's so interesting, your comment about this generation, and they don't think about a long-term career. That's not the assumption when they sign on to work with someone. I'd take it a step further, that they don't even assume that they are going to be working for someone. Whereas when I grew up, I always assumed I'd have a job. I didn't assume I'd necessarily be the boss or an entrepreneur. I assumed I'd work for a company and I would be an employee. And this generation I'm seeing, that's not the assumption. It's the assumption is they don't work for themselves.
Yep.
And I would just add that. And one other thing I'd add that I just thought it was such a great question you asked there about the reaction that we're getting from superintendents and districts. I'll tell you what I assumed the reaction would be. I went into this assuming that we would have to do a little evangelism work here to say, listen, I know you're focused on the students, but what about let's put some focus in on the front line here, faculty and staff. I thought we'd have to go in and really kind of, fight for that and really try to sell them on that idea. I've been shocked at how embracing districts have been saying, yes, this is front of mind. And I think it goes back to your earlier point about risk and retention. This is a hot button issue for them. And they'll say, hey, we went into this knowing we were going to have to support the kids. But what's changed is we're having to relook now, how do we support faculty and staff? Yeah. And again, it goes back to the comments you made about risk and retention. Those are just hot button issues right now. Everybody's feeling it, and it's on everybody's mind. So it's been real interesting. I thought we'd have to sell that, and no, they're already there.
They get it because they live it every day. They get it because they live it every day. That's why I love this product so much. Again, let's say it again. Diana, your boss, is a really smart lady. Let's say that again. I know Diana's listening. Okay, so really
smart
and
passionate.
She came up. She is. She's cool. I love her. Diana Parafinic. Okay, everybody, from the founder of the company. Okay, eTherapy. All right. I have to ask you something, and this is just something that, and you stay with me, Matt, on this one. This is it's on screen. All right. The school district purchases this for the use of the teachers and staff. Okay. It's now a PD program that is, quote, on screen. And you can explain that. I'm sure there's modules, and there might be even at times you can reach out to a live person, whatever the case may be, because you have zillions of therapists working for you. But I am curious. Yeah. This might be a question that comes up, and I don't know if it has come up. What about the privacy issue? People are very, very. Mental health is always an awkward thing to talk about. Okay, and people are more reluctant to talk about that than they are about their physical health, and they have every right to be private about their physical health as well. But here is a district program that's asking the teachers to check in and help themselves. Okay, but I'm just asking this just so you can answer it. What about the privacy of that educator or that person? Okay, how's that work in regards to when a school district buys its program of eQUIP? And I'll ask Matt. Matt, you answer that or pass it on to John? By the way, Matt, if you want to, you can pass all the tough questions to John and just answer the easy ones.
Well, that's a great idea. Well, that's what I normally do, Larry. That's my default setting. Is if it's hard.
You can handle it, Matt. You can handle it. Okay.
I would say
here's
really
the downside to being the expert, right?
That's right.
Matt, you want me to jump on that question?
Well, I would just say that on the PD side, the fact that the very nature of the format of it being something online that I'm doing as an individual, that it's going a long way in alignment with those privacy concerns right then and there. But John, I know you will expound on that.
Yeah, and please do. The only reason I'm asking is because this is a purchase, not by the individual teacher, but by the school district as a gift to the educator.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the way I see it. All right, but
yes,
educators will say, "Well, I don't want him to know that I'm feeling depressed," that kind of thing. Just talk about that, the privacy aspect of it, John, please.
Sure. Yeah, there are two separate things that your question kind of brings up, Larry. I think that the PD element of it, there aren't privacy components to that, right? This isn't looking at highlighting teachers that are dealing with depression and anxiety. This is looking at putting tools and resources in their hands so they can recognize it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do have teachers.
Thank you for that. That's a good explanation right there. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. We do have teachers that might be dealing with depression, and that puts us on the direct service side, not the professional development side, but the direct services side, and we do that too. And so when it comes to the direct service side of providing therapeutic support for teachers, that is confidential. We have districts where teachers self-refer, okay? We don't have it's not a setup where a teacher has to go through the administrator who goes through the school board that okayed us coming in and providing, programmatic support, and then the teacher gets counseling. There's a direct referral where teachers can refer themselves in order to receive any type of support that they might need, whether that's related to their job or whether that's related to their home. So there are kind of two separate issues there. I hope I made that distinction for you.
You did, and it's actually something that was on my mind, and you cleared that up beautifully, John. I got to tell you. Okay, this is what they're providing here, and I just want to state this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, John, is a way to recognize if you might have a situation brewing, and you may need a professional to help you. Professionals are available, obviously, in your hometown, whatever, but also through e-therapy, and the therapists they provide are just wonderful. They work with thousands of them across the country with hundreds of thousands of kids, okay? But that's step 2. This is step 1, okay? Just looking to see, am I having a challenge here? What's going on? Is that a good way to put it? I love the way you explained it.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it, and I think that the broader hope for this program, and we touched on this earlier this week, Larry, is that if there are things that we can do to get ahead of some of the challenges, right? If there are proactive things that we can do as opposed to reacting to some kind of a condition that we're experiencing, then that's always the better option. And so what education can do is it can help teachers recognize students in distress. It can also help them recognize things that maybe they're dealing with, and then they can start to address those. They might not need professional support. Maybe they can start to utilize certain coping skills, or maybe, they have, a community group or family support or whatever the case may be. We aren't advocating that everybody needs strict, intense professional counseling. What we're saying is that people are impacted by their mental health. Those impacts vary, and the earlier that we can recognize them through education and PD and other things, the better.
That's right.
Larry,
go ahead, Matt, please.
Well, I would add, and I think I used this example with you last time we spoke, but I liked it so much, I'm going to use it again. And it's relating this to just general health care. Before you get to the ER and you have to have triage about, what do we do with this person? How about focusing on all the preventative care? All the, get a good night's sleep, eat right, exercise, don't smoke, wear a seatbelt. If you do those things, if you focus in on the preventative things, then that's going to eliminate that scenario where I end up in the ER room, or at least it lessens the likelihood. So I would just echo John's point there about if we can be proactive about this to the general audience. I mean, this is stuff we could all use. This is stuff we just the reminders, whether it was John's point about the engaging environments or the connections or the personal care. These are just things that we all need a little reminder of. And it's the rising tide lifts all ships. I think it's and then for the people that have a specific need. The opportunity that they can self-refer that's there. But these are reminders, at least that I need all the time.
Right. It's just something, I was going down the list here. Thank you, Matt. I was going down the list, and I just want to tell this to everybody. You go over to electronic-therapy.com/equip with a P at the end. Okay. You'll see there are several ways to use equip. And one of them, I just want to go over this, is a self-paced the mental health professional development, okay, which is modules and all that sort of thing. But then there's a second part that's called Equip Live. And John, what is that as opposed to the modules?
Sure. The modules are self-paced. It's online. Some people will go through those faster than others. What Equip Live is that's live, virtual or in-person PD that we also provide that can deal with a whole host of topics from, team building and communication, burnout, stress. It's live, interactive professional development that I guess could be considered a little bit more traditional, but it's still focused on a lot of those issues that schools and classrooms are being impacted by each and every day. And so that's kind of what Equip Live is. We have an alternative dispute resolution series that deals with managing conflict and de-escalating challenging meetings. And these are all live interactive trainings that kind of build on one another, almost like a menu, so to speak, that we found is really appealing to both districts and administrators in helping them do the work that they do every day.
Yeah, and these are important
Larry,
skills.
you might have a.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you might have a district. You might have a district that has a unique, maybe hot button issue, and we want to be evergreen here. We have this platform with with this learning path. But as hot button issues come up, this is an opportunity to customize to what's most relevant for that district.
And actually, you just segued beautifully to what I was going to say. There's a lot of controversy out there in education, a lot of pressure on educators and superintendents and school districts. Okay, it comes from both conservative and liberal sides, a lot of political pressure. Okay, and this is something new, really new at this level. Okay, there's always been some politics involved, but this is really new, the amount of it that's going on right now. All right, sure. And people, we have to learn it's a different world. I'm not placing blame anywhere or anything like that, but I'm just saying we have to. Teachers were not trained to handle this. Okay, superintendents are barely trained to handle this type of thing. Okay. School boards. I mean, people take the job of the school board because they feel they're doing the right thing, get involved with the community, and then they're all of a sudden under all this pressure. And we saw all that during the pandemic with the masking and all that craziness. Okay, and this is so important these days. And the other thing I just want to say as we wind down here, guys, all right? Like you hear John's accent. He's from northern Maine. Am I correct, John? The way up north?
Southern Maine. Southern Maine.
Yeah, southern Maine. Okay. And it's a private joke. And, you go into a rural area, all right? They don't have access to all this, okay? Now they do. They don't have access to it personally, okay? There's just not enough therapists around. There's just not enough, all right? And we have to help everybody. And this allows every single school district to have access to real expertise for their teachers, and I might add for electronic therapy for the kids as well. Okay, but this is the professional teacher side of it, and that's eQUIP. Guys, this was great. I really enjoyed it. I love having you back. You guys are great. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is great.
Larry, it was a lot of fun. Although I'm still confused. I live in Georgia too. I don't detect an accent from John.
It's up there.
Thank you so much, Matt. I don't even
watch him tonight. Have him buy you a lobster and watch how he cooks it and peels it. You'll see. Okay, he's an expert. He's from Maine. Okay, I'm telling you. Okay.
It was a pleasure. Good to talk to you.
And as John will let you know, I don't know whether you noticed that, that's probably one of the great pickup lines of all time. I happen to be from Maine, and I'll just leave you guys to talk about that one. Maine? Well, all I can say is, and before we leave, if I may, gentlemen, as you know, I do live in Maine, which is a very quick drive to Boston. Okay, and I just want to make the point that the Celtics beat the Hawks last night. The Hawks are eliminated, and I'm so sorry.
Well, we had low expectations. I'm actually a big Joe Mazzulla fan, so
they actually played pretty damn well. Yeah, they were. But if you do need therapy to overcome this heartache, gentlemen, I suggest e-therapy at electronic-therapy.com.
Great plug, Larry.
Someone my height, like Trae Young, can still play out there. That gives me hope. Maybe there's a future for me.
he's truly amazing, and
he's a gamer.
I'll show you my age, guys. I remember when those Hawks were the St. Louis Hawks. There you go, guys. Long time ago, right? Thank you.
Some Bob Cousy references.
Thank you, Matt. You guys are the best. Okay, we'll do more together.
Thanks
Larry. Guys.
Take care now.
Sounds great.
Take care.
Yeah, you
Thanks,
too.
Larry. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye. Right? You guys are great, I got to tell you. All right? This is just terrific. All right? Electronic Therapy is one hell of a good company, and that's at electronic-therapy.com. And this eQUIP program is really unique. Okay? So, it's all linked over here on the website. All right. We'll archive, obviously, at ace-ed.org. I'm Larry Jacobs. Have a good weekend. Thanks for listening to Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. Oh, we'll be off for a week, okay? Because I got a vacation next week. So I'll see you on May 8th.